Good evening. Welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet. Welcome to those in the audience and those watching at home. My name is Councillor Shantan Rajwat. I'm the leader of the Council and also chair of the Cabinet meeting this evening. I'm joined around the table with my colleagues on Cabinet and officers as well who will assist as needed. Cabinet members, as you speak, please do introduce yourself. Got a lot on the agenda this evening, lots of interesting things, so hopefully you get something out of this. Start with the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence. I've only had apologies from Councillor Dunn, who has succumbed to an injury, and we wish her a speedy recovery. Obviously, I'm sure she'll be watching this at home, so hope you make a quick recovery, Kath. Don't think there are any other apologies. I think we're all here, aren't we? Yes, we are. Any declarations of interest from voting members this evening on any items? And any other communications? No. Cabinet members, can I just draw your attention on the note from the monitoring officer on interests as well? Agenda item 2 is the minutes of the meeting held on 16th of May and then 20th of June, pages 8 to 15. I will take them all on block. So shout if there are anything in there. Page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15. Can't see anyone indicating. Cabinet, you happy for me to sign those sets of minutes? Agreed. Excellent. Thank you very much. We then move to the first agenda item, which is the Treasury Management Outturn Report, which is page 16 to 30 of your agenda. It's a report from me as lead member for finance, or strategy, resources and external affairs, as I like to call myself now. The Treasury Management is an annual report that comes to Council, and Cabinet are asked to refer it on to Borough Council. It details our treasury management activity, our investments, and all that we're doing in order to be able to achieve our aspirations. Having healthy balances and investments is really, really important should we be able to deliver on our aspirations and our ambitious corporate plan. I'm pleased to report that everything is within the indicators that we've set. We are always and always have been a very prudent council. We've set ourselves very prudent indicators, and we are sticking to those at all times. So it is a positive report. I'm not going to dwell too much on it because it is a report that you see every year, but it is very much a good news story. So I'll formally move the report. Can I have a seconder, as Councillor Dunn's not here? Councillor Sampson, thank you very much. You're reserving your right? Yep, you're going to reserve your right. Okay, thank you. It's now open for debate. While I find the page, anyone? Can't see anyone indicating. The recommendations. Thank you. The recommendations are on page 16. So as I say, we're asked to note it today and refer it on to Borough Council next week, isn't it? Yeah, it is next week. Yeah. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Excellent. Next report is the Lambton Group performance for Q4. Again, a very positive report. It's very important that as our trading companies, there is visibility on what the companies are doing on our behalf. It's a very comprehensive report. And again, I don't intend to dwell too much on it. It does lay out some of the challenges that the company is facing. And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do, but it also highlights a lot of the successes, and there are quite a few successes that are detailed in there. I particularly draw Cabinet's attention to the sort of snapshot near the beginning of the report, which gives you a good summary of all the activity, and it always surprises me how well they carry on in the background and do so much great work. So again, I formally move this report. Councillor Lambert, will you second?
Yeah.
Would you like to speak or reserve your right?
I'll speak briefly. Yeah,
please.
I've been closely involved. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Guy Lambert. I'm I'm the cabinet member for environment, recycling, traffic or transport, and health integration. Sorry, it's a bit of a mouthful, and my mouth doesn't work like it used to. Yeah, I mean, I've been closely involved with the Lambton companies since, well, not since they started, but for about 5 years, and the progress there has been impressive. I think we've got a case to have the best recycling or waste and recycling system in London. Certainly, we'll talk a bit more about that later. And we've got an excellent housing thing with more than 500 homes now. Nearly all of them are truly affordable, that weren't there at all 5 years ago. So they've done very well. There are some issues for sure, and we will gradually get through those. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. It's been formally moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody wish to say anything? Councillor Chowdhury, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Councillor Samir Chowdhury, Cabinet Member for Adults, Social Care, Public Health and Transformation. Just a quick comment to say, I think the Green Space 360 previously and now as well, and Lambton Niger too, all the companies are doing the great work. But on this note, I will just highlight the parks, green flags and all what we've got in last year. And it's well done to the team. Thank you.
Yeah, quite right. Anyone else wish to speak on this? Right, let me just find the page with the recommendations. What page is it? 31. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. It's a big agenda. So the recommendations are on page 31, 1 to 5. Can I see all those in favour, please? That's carried unanimously. Great. Next report is agenda item 5, the One Hounslow Financial Strategy Update. So Cabinet will recall that the last budget setting in February was probably one of the most challenging budget rounds we've ever had. And rather than get better over that time, following Liz Truss's 44 days of chaos, the economy is getting worse and the government seem unable to get a grip of it. That leaves us in a very difficult position, whilst also remaining ambitious and delivering on the services that our residents rightly demand of us and expect. This report details the situation we find ourselves in, and I think it's an important report in terms of that transparency piece. I think it's absolutely right that we are open and honest about the situation that we find ourselves in as we go into the next budget setting process. This report lays bare the effect of inflation, and lack of funding in effect, and lack of government action, and what effect it is having on our ability to offer services. And it also lays out the challenge before Cabinet in quite stark terms. We absolutely need to understand that so that we can produce a balanced budget for February, which we do every single year. But the decisions become harder and harder every year, and we can't run away from that. And this report highlights that, I think, in a really good way, although the news isn't that great. But I remain absolutely committed to, one, offering the services that our residents demand of us, setting a balanced budget and doing it in a sustainable way. And we have always done that as the administration of this council, and we will continue to do so. And we won't shy away from difficult decisions that will come ahead. So this report is for information. This will then lead on to the, what in old terms was the MTFS. I can't remember what it's called now. One Hounslow Financial Strategy in the autumn, and then the budget setting in February. So this is for information for Cabinet. colleagues. And I formally move the report. Councillor Bruce, would you be kind enough to second?
Very happy to second. I
Reserve
reserve my right to speak.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody like to say anything? No. No. Can't see anyone indicating. Okay. The recommendations of the report are on page 65A. Can I see all those in favour? Thank you very much. That is carried. Annual performance, is that right? Yeah, annual performance reporting 22-23. Again, that is a report from me. I promise this is one of my final no, it's not one of my final reports. I have got more. So again, an important report, and one that rightfully should sit where it does in the agenda. So just a few words in its introduction. By reporting regularly to Cabinet on the progress made against the corporate plan, particularly the delivery plan, we ensure the Council continues to focus its resources on priorities, activities delivering benefits to Hounslow's residents. Regular reporting also provides transparency and clear accountability, ensuring that both projects and programmes and high quality services continue to be delivered, and for action to be taken in areas if areas of concern are identified. The report before us this evening presents the corporate performance data relating to Q4, which is January to March 2023. The performance measures reported are far from the totality of the performance reporting that takes place across the organisation. They are, however, measures that are considered particularly relevant to the delivery of the corporate plan and aligned to our priorities of a greener, healthier, cleaner, thriving, safer and livable Hounslow. The report also sets out progress to date on the delivery plan programmes within the people portfolio, highlighting their overall status, what has been achieved and the key activities that are planned going forward. Currently, there are 14 programmes initiated within the people portfolio of the delivery plan and 90 metrics reported to Cabinet on a quarterly basis. Significant progress has been made against all 6 corporate plan priorities: a greener, just to repeat, a greener, healthier, cleaner, thriving, safer and livable Hounslow, and key transformation programmes during 2022-23. Cabinet's asked to note the corporate performance report, which is in Appendix A, and the progress to date on the programmes within the people portfolio, which is Appendix B, and I will formally move it. Councillor Admagara, would you be kind enough to second?
I will second happily and reserve my right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now open for discussion. Anybody? Councillor Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's worth sort of tying in the 4 reports that you have forwarded already this evening, the ones on the budget and the treasury management, and also this one on performance. They all, in a sense, can be quite formulaic or a bit dry in a sense, money and figures and numbers. But I think it is worth highlighting the importance that we all need to place behind all of this. That we do have, and part of the fact that there, haven't been a huge number of questions or comments about it this evening, we do have an exemplary systems in place that look at how we're managing our money and how we're looking at our performance, how we're monitoring things, how we're measuring ourselves against the targets that we're setting. And for us politically, are we in the next 3 years now, the 4 years of this administration, going to be delivering against our pledges? And that's a really important factor. And I think it should be acknowledged every single time that we get reports like this. Yes, they can be dry, but they do form the backbone of what we're able to do as a council. And we acknowledge, and I always acknowledge, we can't do everything we want to all the time. We know money is tight. There are always complications with employing people in particular roles, things like that. But where we are making huge traction, and it needs to be pointed out, and these reports do that, particularly with the fact that you have, as lead member for finance, as well as being leader of the council, solid handle on the budget, and that this clearly says, acknowledges the difficulties we have, but clearly says the trajectory of our performance. So I think it's worth not a pat on our own back, but just reminding ourselves of a job well done so far, and looking forward to continuing that work in the next 3 years.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Councillor Bath, don't forget to introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah. Councillor Lillybath, Cabinet Member for Children Education, Employment and Skills. I think I got that right. Anyway, something like that. On similar lines to Councillor Bruce, really, it's a great report, but for me, it's actually having some clear examples of some of the really good outcomes that we've achieved. And I was just looking, actually, in my area. I know that we've, Stephen and I discussed this when we have our one-to-one meetings, but we in Hounslow we consistently outperform our other neighbours in terms of the educational attainment of our young people, which I think is really good to see. And you just pick up some of the things here. We were shortlisted for the Living Wage Champion Award, which is a really big thing in Hounslow, given that we have so many people in sort of low waged economy. So I think these are really excellent things. And again, in Councillor Ajmer Garawal's area, the council's domestic violence, was held as best practice by the Home Office. Again, we kind of forget some of the things that we do because we do get carried away with the business of it all. But it's nice to kind of just every now and then just say, have a look and just reassess some of the stuff that we are doing and just getting an understanding of some real examples here. So no, I'm really pleased, and I think it's good and clear in terms of the some of our sort of major progresses. But yeah, well done to everyone. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bath. Anyone else on this? Okay, the recommendations are on page 84, 1.1 and 1.2. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Good. And I can take a breather now for a few minutes. Councillor Lambert, Hounslow Reduction and Recycling Plan, over to you.
Right, this one is about the Reduction and Recycling Plan 2023 to 25. This is something we have to do every 3 or 4 years, apparently. I think the last one lasted a bit longer. This one's only lasting 3. And it's how we're going to approach recycling over the next 3 years. It has to be agreed with the GLA and with DEFRA and other wonderful bodies like that. Our officers have done an excellent job, got it basically approved. It won't be approved until we approve it here, and they can put it to be approved. But it also reflects the great progress we've made with recycling over the last 3 or 4 years. The rates are always a bit slow coming through because of the way that they're compiled, but we've gone from sort of 28% to about 35-36% so far, and I hope we're on the road to get to 50%, which is what we've committed to do in a few years' time. So it's not helped by the fact that there was an Environment Act in 2021, which is still not fully implemented or fully understood, and that will have some impact on our business and our costs. But we're on top of that. We have a very good service, a good subcontractor in Lambton Recycling, and all's going well. So that's all I've got to say. It's a good thing.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. I will second that report and reserve my right to speak. So it's open to me. Got it. So it's open for discussion, debate. Any questions? Anyone want to say anything? Can't see anyone indicating. No, I agree with you, Guy. I think it is good news. I think we're on the right trajectory. Part of it is that sort of education piece, isn't it? Helping residents, but the action that we've taken on flats above shops as well has also helped and will carry on helping. And it's a great example of our partnership working with the companies as well to try and do our bit for the environment, but also help people with their obligations as well. So I fully commend the report. So I can't see anyone indicating. The recommendations on this are on page 128, 1, 2, 3, A and B. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, next item would have been from Councillor Dunn. It's Greener Hounslow. It's a pathway to net zero, and I'm really sorry that she's not here to present it. I know she was quite excited to present it. It's another great report. So this report outlines the plan to achieve the 50% reduction in direct council emissions by 2026. That's in line with our corporate plan ambitions. As Cabinet will be aware, we declared a climate emergency in June 2019 and subsequently developed a climate emergency action plan. The plan contains over 100 actions, so it's not just a piece of paper. It actually has some actions, tangible actions to it. And of those currently funded, we will achieve a 23% reduction in our carbon emissions, which is great. This report outlines the priorities to achieve a further 27% by 2026, as outlined in Appendix A. And those priorities are to accelerate the decarbonisation of corporate buildings and schools, increase renewable energy generation, decarbonisation of the vehicle fleet, retrofit social housing stock, and we have to remember that that our social housing stock is 39% of the council's carbon footprint. Improve the data collection for procured goods and services to better understand the council's consumption, and securing sustainable investment and funding, and that's quite important. And as I said, fundamental to the delivery of our ambitions is to secure the right level of investment and funding. It is a very challenging environment given the scale of investment required to achieve net zero. To put that into context, in Hounslow alone, to decarbonise our entire borough, we expect the cost to be around 5.5 billion, which is a huge amount. And for our own operations, around 200 million. So the council does have a strong track record in securing external investment to deliver projects set out in the Climate Emergency Action Plan. That's a mouthful. And to date, the council has secured, invested, and allocated approximately 48 million of the 200 million required. Therefore, this report also sets out the opportunities that are being explored by the council to secure the level of investment required to implement our plans. This includes the net zero neighbourhood investment model, where the outline business case has recently been published by 3CI, that's the City's Climate Investment Commission, another mouthful, and for which we are actively exploring in Hounslow as a potential holistic solution to decarbonising our neighbourhoods. This challenge isn't unique to Hounslow, and we continue to explore alternative and innovative methods to deliver our commitments, such as the 3CI model, along with pursuing large-scale government funding and in encouraging a simplification of funding to local government. This report sets out what we need to do to deliver on our ambitions, and I ask Cabinet to approve the recommendations. So I'll formally move that report. Councillor Sheen, will you second?
Yes, Leader, I'm very happy to second that report. I will happily speak to it as well. Councillor Salman Shaheen, Cabinet Member for Recreation, Open Spaces and Parking. Now, I think the main thing I would say on this report is it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to do a lot of this, not least retrofitting our social housing stock, but we have to do it. It's evidently from this report not cheap, and it's certainly not going to come easily. But you know, you look at the news from last month that the world had already breached at one point in June 1.5 degree rise. The catastrophic effects of that are going to be felt, and we think we've got. We think we find it difficult at the moment to process and deal with the influx of refugees and asylum seekers. Imagine how much worse it will be for the country and for the borough when climate refugees start coming. And the chaos that will cause, not to mention the loss of nature and biodiversity around the world, and of course even the challenges that brings here. And we're going to talk about our strategies for increasing biodiversity and improving our natural environment. And our contribution here is going to be a small contribution to tackling that global carbon crisis that we face, but everyone has to do it. Everyone has to do their part. And I think it's vital that we're bringing this report today to play our small part in that.
Absolutely right. Thank you, Councillor Sheen. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody like to say anything? Can't see anyone indicating. Okay, so just before we go to the vote, I just want to put on record my thanks to Catherine for really pushing on this and the great work that her and the team have done on this to get us to this point, and look forward to seeing further updates. So the recommendations are on page 161. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, we then move on to another report that would have been presented by Councillor Dunn. This is the Green Infrastructure Nature Recovery Plan. Councillor Sheeny, will you move it?
Thank you very much, Leader. It's a great pleasure to bring this report forward, which of course is brought forward with Councillor Dunn as well. And this report really follows on from the Green and Blue infrastructure strategy that we passed back in November, following extensive consultation with residents and stakeholders. Now, the Nature Recovery Action Plan details the concrete actions that we will take over the next 5 years to increase biodiversity and our green infrastructure and improve our natural environment. It's fundamentally one of the biggest impacts that we're going to see from this, and this report cuts across so many of the different areas the council works in. But fundamentally, this is going to bring us in line with nationally mandated policy coming out of the government, which from November will require all planning permissions to render a 10% biodiversity net gain. So not only through this report responding to our national obligations to the government, are we to preserve existing biodiversity, we have to increase it as well, and that's a fundamental aspect of this report, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that works throughout our policy. And I think it's great now that we're putting down a marker on that our development should be ecologically sustainable. It's going to see us embark upon actions around habitat creation, flood alleviation, species protection, as I just mentioned, as well as woodland creation and air quality. And of course, as part of that, we've already been bringing forward our manifesto pledges to plant 20,000 trees across the course of this administration, something that our current targets are already exceeding. As I mentioned previously, in the last year, we were supposed to plant 7,500 trees. We've planted around 1,000 more than that. So already we're on a good course towards this, and this sets out the key actions that we need to take to continue down that path. I'm pleased that this report will support our parks master plans, which are already in full swing, and something that I'm very proud of and very thankful to our officers and Green Space 360 teams for working on. And I'm also very pleased that this report is going to support growth for the future, which is our policy to transform acres of wasteland across Hounslow into spaces to grow food in a cost of living crisis, and paired with schools to provide educational spaces for children often in deprived areas to learn about biodiversity, sustainability, and healthy lives and where our food comes from. And I'm very pleased that this report sets out that we've received £165,000 from the government and GLA in grant funding for that, and that sets us on a very good path to proving our concept in our first few sites and continuing to expand that programme across the borough in the years to come. So there's a lot in here, and I'm very excited about it. And I'll end on saying that this is a key plank in our mission to build a borough in which not only does biodiversity thrive, but so do our residents in that greener, cleaner borough that we want to build.
Thank you, Councillor Sheen. Councillor Chowdhury, would you second this?
Yeah, I'll second and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody? Councillor Lambert.
I just want to say a little bit about the Green Talk thing, which it's unique that Hounslow subscribed to Green Talk. So 124,000 trees on the roads, the parks, and the council estates around Hounslow are recorded and named, and you can go and look at them and you can adopt them if you want. And I think that's a really progressive thing that we took, and it helps us to remain engaged with those trees. So have a look at Green Talk if you haven't done already. It's a good thing to look at.
Quite absolutely. Anyone else? I didn't realize that there are 240 different species of bees. That my mind boggled when I was talking about biodiversity net gain. I learn something new every time. It's amazing. Anyone else? Can't see anyone else indicating. So the recommendation on this are on page 188 and 189, 1 to 6. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Excellent. Thank you very much. We now move to Councillor Ajmer Garawal for the contracted police team review update. Councillor Garawal.
Thank you. Councillor Ajmer Garawal, Cabinet Member for Safety and Regularity Services. So this report seeks approval to establish a new contract with the Mayor's Office for Police and Crime. That's MOPAC. For the provision of a council-funded police team for 3 years from 19th October 2023. The council undertook a review of the current arrangements of additional policing capacity in May 23 to understand the funded team's activities, alignment with council priorities, value for money, and to inform commissioning intentions for a future contract. This work found the funded police team are providing a service that often demonstrates the additionally intended and that the council would likely not get from the BCU otherwise. So it was also noted that the funded officers are heavily involved, what they were heavily involved in, and they were identified as priority council tasked police work, spending approximately 70% of their time within this space, predominantly supporting community enforcement, housing, adult safeguarding, and regularity services. 20% of their time was spent in a proactive capacity, for example, targeted patrols and responding to incidents, whilst the last 10% was other activities such as admin. This work also identified opportunities to improve the funded police team's tasking within any new contract to achieve maximum value for the council, establish a more accountable and visible service directly aligned to issues in the borough and council priorities. It also found that the council could broadly expect to cover existing priority work with a complement of 12 officers under the tighter contract arrangement. So on this basis, the report recommends that the council establish a new contract for 12 officers to take effect from 19th October 2023 with a proposed contract term of 3 years. And this is the minimum contract period for any new arrangement. The Metropolitan Police recently published its turnaround plan for 2023-25, which sets out a commitment to strengthen neighbourhood teams, but this will take time to implement, and the ambitions of the turnaround plan will undoubtedly have an impact on the neighbourhood capacity within the borough. As such, the proposed arrangement builds the flexibility to revisit the contract, and this will allow the council to hold the Metropolitan Police Services to account and ensure the intended value is realised. The report is before you with 2 recommendations to approve the proposed new police team contract, and the second one is to delegate authority to the Assistant Chief Executive to scope and specify and award the contract between now and October. And this work would involve officers from all services, and the work will be undertaken in consultation with the BCU to agree working arrangements. So the report's before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garawal. Councillor Sampson, would you second?
Yes, Leader, I'd like to speak. It's an excellent report. Sorry, Councillor Sue Sampson, Lead Member for Housing and Homelessness and Repairs. It's an excellent report, and I think this is really the way to go, and that enables us to look at the way that we currently operate within the council, and that buys us some time to do that in the whole while the whole process of keeping the borough and the people in the borough safe going forward. And I think it's, you know, it's a brilliant way forward and an excellent report. And that's why I second.
Thank you, Councillor Sampson. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody like to say anything? No? Yeah, and your point's absolutely right, Councillor Sampson. This sits within the wider review of our enforcement and that whole piece around a safer borough and that priority of visibility of our officers and police officers and the partnership working that exists there as well. So commend you, Councillor Agarwal, for bringing this forward and all the work that you and your team have done to get us to this point as well. I can't see anyone indicating, so the recommendations are on page 371, 1 and 2. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Great, thank you. Agenda item 11, the future educational landscape of Hounslow. Councillor Lily Bath.
Thank you, Leader. So with this report, what I'm asking Cabinet to agree today is to agree a development of a strategic approach to work with schools. So just to put a little bit of context here, as you would have heard me say earlier on, we have some excellent educational outcomes and attainments from our young people and children in Hounslow schools. We've got a very good relationship with the schools, and we've got a real partnership and a family of schools. So the government introduced a white paper called Opportunity for All back in March 2022, and it was some specific sort of drive towards academisation and a sort of fully trust-led system. However, that was abandoned by the government, and we don't know what the future is in terms of where we go with that particular piece of not legislation, but the bill. So given that the bill has been halted, and given that we have a very good sort of educational outcomes and partnership from our schools, I think it's important that we as a local authority work with schools so that we continue that, because given the uncertainty from the government, we want to make sure that we are continue to champion the rights of our children, and that we continue to champion working with our schools. We could have decided not to do anything at all, but that probably is not a good way forward, given the good sort of positive outcomes that we actually get. So what we've decided to do is to really refocus our work and do a piece of work with schools to sort of support them and have a conversation about what kind of vision we have in terms of education going forward. So what I'd like you to do is agree this. Obviously, this does cause this does cost a little bit of money, like everything does, but it's not a huge amount. And what I will be doing is bringing a business case back in December to Cabinet to have a look at what our conversation with schools and our work with schools is coming up with. And hopefully, as a result of this, we'll also have a lifelong learning educational strategy as well, which is really important to mention that as well. So I move the recommendation, really.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Shivraj, what will you second? Use your mic, introduce yourself.
Yes, sorry, more like you introduced me. Yeah, Councillor Shivraj Grewal, Cabinet Member for Communities and Equalities. Yeah, thank you, Lily, for the report, and it's an excellent report. And we have to be champions for education, and I think so. This is the way forward for the next generation of students, and it's our responsibility as councillors and a council that we should support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Agarwal. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Councillor Bruce.
Yeah, obviously, as the former lead member for education, I have a very significant interest in this as well. Lily is doing a fantastic job in dealing with the changing landscape as has been evolving over the past decade or so. It's obviously, I think for a Labour administration and for Labour people, disappointing that we are in this position, have to be put in this position because of the national choices that are being made about education. But what it does show is that here in Hounslow, where the schools have been incredibly collaborative, the family of schools has, as it has been called for many, many years, regardless of that, they continue to work together and are absolutely proactive in working together to secure the best outcomes for the children here. The head teachers and chairs of governors, teachers, pupils that come through the system all recognise the quality of education here. And that doesn't just happen by chance. It happens because of the people that are there. And in part because of those people are willing to share ideas and share practice and want to achieve that for this borough. There have been lots of officers who worked incredibly hard over the past decade and past dozens of years on getting us to this point. And it's while disappointing, it is a positive way forward for to show how we are able to deal with this situation. And move on for the best, to continue to try and achieve the best outcomes for the young people in the borough. So well done, Lily, well done, Stephen, and all the team working on this.
Thanks, Tom. Couldn't have said it better, even if I tried. Right, anyone else on this one? No, can't see anyone else indicating. The recommendations are on page 383, 1 to 4. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We now move on to agenda item 12, supported living procurement and acquisition strategy. Cabinet will note the confidential appendix, which is item 22 on your agenda. So if you want to move both of those at the same time.
Yes, I'll. Did I introduce myself? Councillor Tom Bruce, Cabinet Member for Regeneration and Development. Yes. For this report, I'm asking Cabinet to agree to the acquisition of 4 properties, which is 52 bed spaces from Shepherd's Bush Housing at a cost of 8.72 million. That does seem quite a significant amount of money, and it certainly is. Shepherd's Bush Housing have put these on the open market to be sold. The risk factor involved here for us, and particularly for the people living in this accommodation, is that they get sold to a landlord and the landlord decides that they don't want these people here anymore. Those people come back to the council and we need to find elsewhere for them to go. They are settled and happy in these properties, and we wish to maintain that situation. So spending this money is something that we feel is absolutely necessary to ensure that not only the people that are living here are secured for the foreseeable future, but also the 52 beds count towards the spaces that we're being able to deliver as part of our pledge, which is an excellent return on something that was unknown at the beginning of this administration, something that's come to light very recently. It will come out of the HRA, and therefore there may need to be some jiggling around of some of the finances in order to make this work for this year. But as I've said, there is some slight scope within that, and this does count towards what we're trying to achieve, which is to build and buy those 1,000 council homes and council properties. I don't really think I need to say anything else. I'll move the report, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Councillor Hampson, are you seconding?
I second, and I just want to say again, an excellent report, excellent way forward. And as Tom said, we're achieving, constantly moving forward and achieving. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Yeah, I think whilst we'll jiggle around with the HRA, I think the key thing is supporting those people that are living there. I think that's the most important thing. So I think it's an excellent report for that reason. I'm very happy to support it. So the recommendations on this are on page 396 and 397, 1, 2, 3, and also the recommendation in the confidential appendix. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Excellent. Thank you very much. I think, are we back with you again, Councillor Bruce? Quality housing in Hounslow, a vision?
a vision for quality housing in Hounslow. I mean, absolutely, leader. Of course, and I'm sure all boroughs would say this, that we have a vision for what quality housing should be. But what this document and this report is outlining is we've put those ideas and those thoughts and what we want to achieve in this borough down on paper. And there's been a huge amount of work with the team, not just sitting in a room and deciding what they think, but actually going out into the big wide world and asking people what they see as quality homes and quality housing, how various teams within the council also see that, engaging with members as well as to how they see this coming forward. This is specifically looking, or initially certainly looking at how council homes can be produced to the highest quality possible. But while we can't mandate developers coming into this borough to use this as their vision, what we do hope is that this is something that they will begin to look at, and we will encourage, and I would at this point encourage all developers to look at this, because this is what we say we want for this borough, we want for our residents. And if you want to come here and deliver homes, which we want to, this is what you're going to need to live up to. And there are some excellent things here, and I'm delighted to be moving this. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Councillor Sampson, seconding.
Thank you, Leader. I'd just like to say that absolutely echo everything that Tom said, and this report here, as Tom said, that all developers need to take note of this, because this is the bare minimum that we expect, the bare minimum for our residents of Hounslow.
Absolutely. It's been moved and seconded. It's now for discussion. Councillor Bath.
I was just going to echo what Councillor Bruce and Sampson said. It's really important to actually have a vision document about quality. I know it is very subjective, but we do have to have a framework, and that does guide future developments. But so in that sense, I'm really pleased. It is an excellent report, but it's so important to stress how important it is to actually have some kind of vision as to what the quality and future development should look like. Because if we want our residents to sort of support what we do, then we have to listen to what they have to say in terms of their feedback as well, and that's really important. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Bath. You're absolutely right. We're more than just a house building authority. We're conveners of place, and we're creating place, and this is an important part of that big jigsaw around building communities for the future that people can be proud of and be proud to live and work and raise their families in Hounslow and grow old in Hounslow as well. So a really important document. And I know Councillor Bruce is doing a lot of work on a number of different parts of this jigsaw that will all come together. That's absolutely important. So thank you to you and your team for all the work on this. Can't see anyone else indicating on this report. So the recommendations are on page 408, 1.1 and 1.2. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Item 14, non-immediate borough-wide Article 4 direction. Councillor Bruce.
Yes, I mean, the title of the report, Leader, carries on. It's the longest title I've ever seen, ever. Essentially, what we're asking for is that Article 4 direction that withdraws permitted development rights from changing from house into a small HMO. All councillors sitting around this table, all officers sitting around this table, councillors, residents out there listening, hopefully, all have had experience of dealing with problems with HMOs in the borough. That's not to say that we are against HMOs. I certainly want to, make that, put that on the record. HMOs form a very, very important part of the housing stock of our borough. They're part of the wide-ranging offer that we have here and the nation has across the country. I certainly lived in what was then called a shared house at university, but is more frequently being called an HMO, house of multiple occupancy, nowadays. What this does is doesn't stop HMOs, that it stops permitted development rights for HMOs, meaning that people who want to change their house or a house that they own into an HMO need to come to the council for approval. I absolutely think this is the right thing to do. I think everybody, and I hope everybody around the table thinks this is the right thing to do, because while, and I repeat again, we don't want to stop HMOs coming forward, we do want to be able to control and manage the situation in particular areas, on particular roads for residents where they're finding there is a proliferation or there is low quality HMOs popping up, and be able to deal with those issues in a much more streamlined way. So I'm asking that council, cabinet here support that the council can implement this Article 4 direction imminently. It's been out for consultation for a year, and we've had only about 20, we've had 25 people writing in, 24 of those supportive and one objection. I think that shows, well, the weight of, but by my counts, that's a very strong amount in favour of what we're trying to do here. And so I move this report as well, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Councillor Sampson, you can second.
I second the report, Leader, and again echo everything that Councillor Bruce has said. It is the only way forward where we can control and make sure that the accommodations that are provided by HMOs are of a decent quality standard.
Absolutely right. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion, debate. Can't see anyone indicating on this one. So the recommendations are on page 511, 1 to 3. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Item 15, local plan review, the way forward. Councillor Bruce.
Me again, running out of steam here, Leader. Yes, the local plan review, the way forward. I brought a report a couple of months ago to Cabinet, pretty much detailing exactly the same that's in this report. What I'm asking for here is that we can repeat our approval for that, but also send that off to Borough Council for approval at full Borough Council next week. So nothing material has changed, merely that we are looking for Borough Council, wider council approval of this as well.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. I'll formally second that and reserve my right. It's open for discussion, debate. As Councillor Bruce said, fairly straightforward. This is referring it on to Borough Council. We've already had the discussion about this previously. So with Cabinet's permission, I'll move straight to the vote on this. On 591, 1 and 2, can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Good. Right. I've not had any referrals from any other council committees. The date of the next meeting is the 5th of September from 7 p.m. I've not had any urgent business. Will someone move exclusion of press and public? No, not that there are any. Someone move it? Yeah, Councillor Bath, seconded. Thank you. That's agreed. Gary, let us know when you're off the live stream. Those leaving us at home, thank you very much for joining.